Thank you very much. Remember, if you get chilly and if it gets breezy, then you get chilly back there. Just put your hands in your pants.
It's your boy Concert Viz 34 back at home.
What up, what up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up, what up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998, and if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started, and I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that '03 to '06 was like the end of the prime. '07, '08 was like, we're at the very end. And then when Roy passed,
But Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, Rashawn has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. Don't forget to hit that like button. What up? What up? It's your boy Conserviz34. And the week begins. This is it for Mexico. Although we've come to the end of the road and they free dodo. They didn't play enough for these crowded streets, but they still played a lot of deep cuts. Come to the end, you see. They played no dreaming tree, but that's okay. Dave and Tim rocks the whole world. All right, just kidding. What up, what up? It's your boy Conserviz34. Welcome to the DMB post-show stream. Little Boys to Men interpolation there. I'm excited to have our two guests on tonight. If anyone's in the chat that's in Mexico and you want to come on, let us know. Let us know what's up. Shout out to everyone who's watching the replay. You had to go to sleep. You had to wake up early. Well, it's President's Day, but still, if you're watching the replay, shout out to you guys in the chat right now. I'm gonna wrap this thing up, put a bow on this weekend, and I'm gonna let the people who were there do most of the talking tonight. We do have our two guests that have been on. Alex Brandt, thank you for letting me know. Looks like no changes to the set list tonight. This thing is a marathon, so it's warm weather, beautiful beaches, and 3 shows for Dave and Tim in a sense, in a time where the full band played the Super Bowl, but they don't have a lot of shows behind them at this time of the year. This is almost their spring training and a month away from Innings Fest. So what I want to do, I want to get to our guests right away, get them in. Cry Freedom and Christmas song, Andrew 34. Thank you for joining. And Alex said he'll tag me on Twitter. Thank you so much there. Appreciate your work, Alex. Don't do it. What up, Mike? What up? All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to get to our first guest here. And let me pull up my phone. We'll call Shane. We'll see what's popping with Shane here from Colorado. Well, I think he's originally from New York, but
hello, Marcus.
Shane, how are you doing?
I am feeling it after 3 days of sun, sand, and Dave. It's you said it right. It's a marathon. Holy cow! But what a great marathon to complete, right? I mean, I'm not running 26.2, but I'll do 3 days in the sand. That's my marathon.
There you go. You're playing in the sand with all the DMV fam. So we're looking at night 3, and unfortunately, the music has to stop at some point, and it has. What did you think of night 3?
Yeah, night 3 had some really positive aspects and some that, I'm not going to say anything negative about that set list. If you're sitting on the couch and you go, oh my gosh, Here Comes You and Me and Sister, and, it's like, oh well, deal with it.
Bruh.
Put up with those songs.
Bruh.
Deal with it. But overall, I mean, how can you complain? I can't really. I mean, the crowd was into it. Certain songs they were just singing. Just as an overall, generalization of the show, yeah, I had a great time. It was not night 1 set list. It was not night 2 set list. But it was a Sunday night set with a really great guest and a couple real deep cut thrown there. So, and again, everybody's winding down on night 3. Already, we got told for early access 135 out of 250. Yeah, we could have been on the rail tonight. We chose to sit back. We've met a bunch of friends here. We came with friends here, and it's the final night of the 3 nights, and we wanted to be with everybody. We were trying to, keep a real happy group environment going. So we backed off. Everybody's just so happy and nice, and everyone's just so nice. It's a really good time. So yeah, that's just kind of an overall generalization of the night. I had a great time. I thought the set list was not the top of the 3 nights. But oh my gosh, when Christmas song came out, the crowd was like, wow. Everyone's excited to Break Free open the night. There's some real positives that if you're sitting on the couch, you're going, oh, glad I didn't go to Mexico for that. So, you know what I mean? There's probably people out there looking at it in a not so positive way. But again, 3 nights on the beach and that set list, it was fun, man. It was a good time tonight. I mean, such a good time.
That's awesome. And let me just pull up. We got your picture of where you were located. You didn't go right to the well, but you hang back, but you're dead center. Looking at the opening act stuff in this picture. Let's pull up the set list here. While we have you on, thank you, Alex, for tagging me. So Break Free was set to open. Sweet was set to be next.
Yeah.
It does look like if we pull up.
And Dave come out with the black electric and he stood.
Yep. So that's that Jerry Jones baritone, not named after the Cowboys owner, That's that Jerry Jones baritone. Okay, so we have Break Free, Sweet, Rapunzel, Typical, So Much, Cry Freedom, You and Me. Okay, so after You and Me, Little Thing is in the set list written out, but they instead went right to Granny. Um, Little Thing was actually played after Minarets. So in between Minarets and Do You Remember is where Little Thing was set up to be. Let me tag the almanac here as well in this while they know. So it looks like they moved down Little Thing in the set list. Now that Break Free, I mean, tell us about that. What was the crowd like? What was it? What was the experience of seeing the first ever Dave solo Break Free?
Yeah, the crowd erupted. I mean, it was awesome. You know, what we were thinking, wow, what an unbelievable start to the evening. You know, just Dave. But he's done that. You know, he come out without Tim last night for a couple songs. And, yeah, that was just a great start to night 3. Oh, I was excited. Absolutely. I thought, well, you know, going into like Sweet, there was a lot of couple songs tonight, a lot of slow dancing couples hugging, a lot of, it seemed like Dave was like almost targeting a little bit coupley for a little bit, you know what I mean? He was getting a lot of the slower ballads in.
Oh yeah, you
Sweet
got
the slower one. Even Cry Freedom slower. You and Me is slower. Sister's slower. You know what I mean? So it was like, don't get me wrong, Break Free was great. Rapunzel, so glad that it's early in the set. Give it to me early. Let's do it. I like the song, but a real pet peeve of mine is when we end a show with Rapunzel. Like I just don't. That's just me. Don't at me, everybody. Like, how can he say that? That's me. So yeah, I was happy to see Rapunzel come in early, and then Typical, which yes, I'm so happy to see that come out down here. You know.
yeah, definitely.
So fun. So much to say. Another crowd pleaser. And a couple times, yeah, again, you're on the couch. Like some of these songs, at first you would almost hear the crowd almost be like, and then by the first lyric, everybody's singing. The place is 3,000 strong, knowing every verse of everything. You know what I mean? So, so much to say. It was a crowd pleaser. A crowd Cry Freedom. That was nice, man. The crowd got so quiet. It
That's
was
good.
so
Though.
attentive.
That's great.
When, that's all. And then we couldn't escape the weekend without You and Me.
But you know, it's funny. Did either you or Zach told me that somebody requested it yesterday, and he said that's what we play with the full band.
Yeah, and I that was me, Marcus, and actually it was she that was requested, not you.
Oh,
and me.
she. That's what. Okay.
So yeah, he played You and Me tonight.
Okay. I was about to say that makes a much more sense. And by the way, that needs to go away with the full band. I love grunge music, but this sounds like grunge music, or I guess, you know, any sort of that alt rock. I love that type of stuff. And she just sounds like it's like an example of why Dave should not do alt rock in that format and stick to,
Right.
you know, I love the baritone guitar that he does Break Free on, but don't do a song like she. It just doesn't work for me. I know people like it. I don't like it. I'm glad that they did not do she. So a couple of things here that are special about this. You guys get the first Cry Freedom by Dave and Tim since 2016-19. You get Oh Sister for the first time covered by Dave Matthews in any form since 6/3/2015. And then you get the
Say
first.
that again. I'm sorry, Marcus.
Yeah.
You broke up. Can you say that again?
The first time they've covered Oh Sister since 2015.
Oh wow.
Anything with Dave Matthews as a part of it, the first time since 2015. Just to give people as well for this cover, they've done it. I didn't realize they did it back in the 90s. This is a cover where, and this is probably because of my Dave and Tim knowledge of some of these tours. I haven't dove into these tours head on, but in 2015, you get it 6263 with the full band. I don't know how I missed that. I was tracking this. And then you get it in 2006. You get a Dave solo. This is just a special thing. They're a very small event. And then, but in 2004, it looks like you have a Farm Aid. It was played. And then we have, looks like this is a Dave and Tim tour, a Dave and Friends tour. They were doing that cover. So definitely a rarity there for the band.
I was with Molly Tuttles too. She came out for Grace and stayed for 5 songs. One of the songs is a new song on Molly Tuttle's new release that's coming out, and Dave was like, I've never played bluegrass before, but I want to do this with Molly, and we had a great time doing it, and they sang it, and great song. I believe that's called Yosemite.
Yes, that's what we have here. So that's special. Did you hear any rumors, or did you see Molly earlier in the day on the grounds?
No.
Because there were talks. I mean, people were obviously, Buddy was there Saturday. I don't know if he stayed. I'm guessing. I don't know why he would just come for Saturday and leave. So I'm sure he stayed today as well. But Molly Tuttle was spotted. There were sources saying this and sending me some reports. And lo and behold, she came on fresh off the Grammy win. And now she does this. What did you think of Yosemite?
No. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I mean, let's just start with Grace Is Gone. She's got I don't know the guitar she uses, but it's such a full sounding guitar. It's beautiful sounding. I'm not a guitar guy. I couldn't tell you the difference from one to the other, but she came out for Grace. That was beautiful. That into Oh Sister, at the Speed of Sound and Loneliness is that's a John Prine cover.
Yes, played in 2020 for virtually, but this is the first time it's been played in front of a real crowd. That looks like I don't know. This is the picture that Zach sent me. I did not catch a lot of the streams tonight, but I don't know. I have to look back at to see. But it looks like she just has a regular guitar. Perhaps it has some sort of effect there. So Grace Is Gone, and then so you guys get Grace Is Gone. You get the Oh Sister cover. And then, like you said, the Speed of Sound and Loneliness. So, how was that? The ants, I did see videos of that ants where the crowd was going nuts. What was it like? Did Molly add any special things to that ants?
Absolutely did Molly add to it. And Dave is a master conductor of saying, Molly, run with it. And then I'll look over at Tim, take it, Tim. And then he did that a couple times, and for the first time in the entire weekend, he got out of his chair and he backed up. Not out of sight, but backed up enough to say, hey, audience, their turn to shine. Like, don't look at me. And they had a great back and forth. And that was a good ant. That was a really good ant. Really good.
Awesome.
Yeah, she sounded fantastic.
Right. And this encore, what do you think? Some Devil and then Two Step.
Yeah, Some Devil's a crowd favorite. Everybody sings. Everybody loved to see him come out with a black guitar. And then Jimmy come out, and they finished it up with Two Step. Two Step was good, of course, with the introduction and everybody singing and dancing and a little bit of jam at the end. But they left everybody on a high note.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all in all, like I said, incredibly thankful to be here for 3 days, and thankful for every set list that I have gotten and every song that I have gotten these 3 days. Not a single complaint, not a single, you know. I'm like I said it the last 2 nights. I'm excited with Zach because I know Zach's going to lay down the law. He's going to be like, look, this was a roller coaster show where up one moment, down the next. Yeah, I want to hear what Zach has to say. So, all in all, Angie and I had a great time. We met a lot of people. Got today's poster. I how do you say his name? Kwok?
Ben Kwok. Yep.
Yeah, beautiful poster today.
Now, there was. We want to know your story. Now, let me pull this up here because we're gonna pull this up, and then we'll get a. I'll try to get a picture of this as well because I was tagged in this. Well, okay, let's go to here. So Ben said online, "Thank you for all the positive, encouraging feedback. You sure know how to make a guy blush. I wanted to explain the concept behind this Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds piece. The toucan is the keel-bill toucan, a native of Mexico. The round perch is the Ouroboros, a circular symbol depicting a snake dragon swallowing its tail as an emblem of wholeness or infinity, fused with the Quetzalcoatl, or Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, deity of ancient Mesoamerican culture. And finally, the patterns on the left and right side are inspired by a talavera, a traditional Mexican style pottery and design that was a mouthful of things for reading. Let's pull up this poster for everyone to see. And go back. Let's see. Oh, they don't have it up here. So let's oh, here it is. So we can look at that. So on the left and the right, you have the talavera. You guys can see that, the Mexican style of right there. The toucan's a native round perch. So this is was this your favorite poster of the weekend?
Oh yeah, and you know what? I was real torn because it's so beautiful, just the daily. But I don't own a glow in the dark, so I stood there staring at the wall, like, which one do I want? Because I need both of them. Like I need 3 of them. You know, I don't. I need one. And there's a lot of people in line that want posters. I had to make up my decision. And I text Andrew real quick. I was like, I can't. What do you think? And we both agreed that we were going to frame up the glow in the dark. And yeah, don't get me wrong, boy, that colorful one, it was gorgeous in person. I don't know. I hope the picture you're looking at is doing it justice, but man, he did great. It was a beautiful print today.
Now,
and by far the best of the 3. And I scored foils for the triptych and the dailies, and I thought today's was the most beautiful. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, what time did you get in line for this poster? I saw people reports at 6 a.m. We're starting to get ready to line up
this morning. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were people at 5:30 this morning. I rolled in at like 7:45, just knowing that it was the premier artist of the weekend, and I didn't know how quickly word spread. I got. I'm trying to think that when I even saw the picture for today. I may have seen it last night. I don't remember. Okay. But just history tells you. Sunday's going to be the good poster. So. Yeah, I got there 7:45.
Now, did this poster did it sell out?
That.
Did it sell out at all, or do you know?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
A lot of merchandise did sell out. Angie wanted a pink hoodie that was a Mexican themed design, sold out instantly online, pre-order, and then when she got down here, sold out. like before I even got a chance. It was so popular. Some of the other clothing that was really popular sold out, but they really came prepared. There was a lot of merchandise this trip. A lot of posters. They came stacked each day, which was nice.
Yeah, I feel like when you invest in this trip, the time, the money, I think you should be able to get a poster. I think every person there. Now, obviously, perhaps that's just let's say what 3,000 maybe that, but I think that they should have an over like a good number for everyone to get one, even with these rarities. Like you said, last year I believe that was the Slater, that with the Mayan ruin. That was actually to me one of the best ones using the Mayan ruins, but um, the Night 3 seems to be that best poster, like you said. But everyone should get one there. Um,
The swag this year from the band was a water bottle, a big double-sided microfiber blanket, a beach bag. I don't think I'm leaving anything out.
Okay.
That was kind of the welcome gift for the weekend. Last year they gave towels, but not this year.
Oh, nice.
I mean, actual get out in the pool and dry off towels.
Okay.
The beach towel they gave you, that's like a microfiber. Like you lay it down and apparently it's supposed to like wick sand or something. Ours is still in the bag. We haven't opened it up yet, but I see people using them.
Yeah. I really love though how Ben put thought into this poster and utilized different art, different species of animal and a bird that means something to this part of the world. I think this is what I talked about going to see Daniel Danger. This is what I like. Every artist should really try to do something like this, or if they don't, just make a good piece of art. But I like the research. I like the attention to detail, especially for a big weekend like this to cap it off. To me, that's important, and that's why Ben is Ben. This is why people love his music. Love his poster stuff. BioWorks is the poster kind of company he's a part of. And in the past, this has been he's been this BioWorks has been with DMB has had some posters that fans have loved here. So it's great to see that there's another feature here for this, and it represents the local area. Let's see. So let's kind of go again. So you talk about this idea of if you're set list watching from home, it's one thing versus being there and you're just, hey, you're happy, you love this environment, you love your friends. Overall, you've been, this is your second weekend, second weekend in Mexico.
Correct.
Okay.
Second time coming.
And how does this compare to the Gorge? Because you've been to the Gorge, correct?
I've not.
Oh, you have not. Okay, so you don't. Okay. Oh, I didn't realize. That's wow. You guys. Oh, you mentioned something on Twitter about that the other day, but
the one destination we just haven't got. I mean, it's yeah. We decided to start throwing our money into Mexico.
Gotcha. And what this is your second year going. What does this trip mean to you?
Oh, this has just been amazing. It's just been amazing for Angie and I to get away for this week and do what we love with people that we love. It's just incredible, the community.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're around, everyone's like, wow, I went to a concert and my section was really nice. Everybody was friendly. But now take that and times it by like 10, where people are just handing you stuff throughout the day. Like, hey, you want a bracelet? Hey, I made this sticker for you. Or here, I made this, whatever. These pins, people are, like, I think I mentioned last night how creative the people in this community are. And just how friendly they are. And, hey, everybody's willing to help each other. And everybody's willing to, it is just, it's like this, for a short time, It's a real nice symbiotic relationship that everybody has with each other. I didn't see an argument, a fight, a yelling, a pushing. I saw not a single person get frustrated and walk away. Nothing. It's just not. Maybe somebody over at the Grand over there was like, "Oh, well, we had somebody get drunk," but I didn't witness anything this entire weekend other than making friends. I made so many more friends that I can't wait to run into at Deer Creek. I'm meeting new people down in West Palm Beach this tour. It's been a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and
it's awesome.
Honestly, we're going to do it again next year.
Now, just keep in mind, they still have to negotiate a contract. This is the final year of the 3-year contract that was signed when they extended this. So we'll see. I mean, obviously, this is something that gets a lot of people out. CIDs no longer owns this. This is a Live Nation project or facility or event. But like I said, we still, just to let everyone know, we still need to have some sort of agreement between the Live Nation entities and Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds. Do we get a full ban? Is it Dave and Tim? Does it discontinue? Does this get moved to the States? We shall see. But I want to thank you so much, Shane, for being on. Yeah. And get some rest. Safe travels back to Colorado here.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Marcus. It's been a great 3 nights talking with you, and give your wife a big hug for me. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Will do. Appreciate it, and I hope you and Angie have safe travels back to Colorado. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, so that's Shane from Colorado, and yeah, I hear there's a lot of community in this, and that's great. Everyone there's for DMB. It's something where you have to make that decision to invest a good portion of money to go. So if you have the funds and go, you're going to get that even further community. Because when you go to even the Gorge, right? I've been to the Gorge, right? I'm mid to late 20s when I went in 2019. Oh no, I was 28. In 2019, I go and there's people that are casual fans or people who are just there. And that's not a bad thing. I love seeing people who just show up and may have not know as much about the band and try to share some things, answer any questions they have. But when you have even the fan who likes you and me, the fan who likes the Stone, the fan who likes Break Free, all in one place, but all hyper focused to just enjoy this music that's a great thing. All right, it looks like someone's saying I'm soaking my feet in the hot tub after that show. Wait until you hear how fire that answer was tonight with Molly and Tim going back and forth. You have to listen to that. Look forward to that tape. We are waiting for Zach to come in. We're waiting for Zach to come in here. We'll see if he does pull up in just a second. I think this night, just from a setlist perspective, you don't have Spoon. I think the biggest thing too is before these crowded streets did not get a lot of love. There's no Pig this weekend, right? No Pig. Last Stop. There's no Dreaming Tree.
Nope.
Now, last year there were 5 before these crowded street songs played. This year there was only 4. Right, 1 night of 2 and then 2 nights of 1. John, who said Buddy was there? That was DMB Tampa Bay, Fody, aka DMB Daddy, Said he was there, like he was on the grounds. Now, doesn't mean he's gonna come play, right? He may just be there to enjoy time away, right? This is another thing. All I kept thinking during the show that I was listening to live at Luther College, and Zach and I talked about that. There's not much that has changed from the inception of this. Um, so it's you can have the feel of a Luther College. Obviously, that's a unique just point in time with Dave and Tim, but you can still get that feeling in 2023. The greatness of Dave and Tim and the way they work off each other, support each other, and play. And it's raw, and there's not anything else to distract you from the acoustic guitar playing from Dave and Tim is unique. That's definitely special. Let's go ahead. Now we do have our favorite taper, our favorite pal from the tri-state area. We have Zach, who's gonna come on. Let's just mute my other audio. Zach, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Everything all good on my end? Sounds like it's not repeating. Good to hear you. Good to be on.
Yes. So tell us about this show, Night 3, Dave and Tim 2023.
Well, and I don't think I'm being hyperbolic at all. Tonight was my 88th Dave Matthews related show ever, and this has eclipsed my old number one and has become the number one show I've ever seen.
Really? Wow. What made this get to number one for you?
It was a combination of the song selection, the flow, the intimacy of a lot of the stories and kind of stuff that was talked about tonight. The absolutely incredible long sit-in with Molly Tuttle, and just overall, it was the perfect way to cap off and blow out night 3 like I knew they were going to.
Gotcha. Now, people at home are gonna probably say, "Hey, there's no spoon, no pig, no dreaming tree. There's like you never know doesn't make an appearance. You don't have those deep cut songs that many times are markers for a lot of fans of what makes a show a great show. So how does this still top that without being, without having a bunch of stuff at the end that's like, oh, that deep cut from this time, like, oh, that, like, how does that still top your list?
So it's a combination of two things. It's, even though like there aren't a lot of ridiculously big deep cuts on here. I mean, you still have, Cry Freedom, you have
Yes.
a really good version of Little Thing, you have Christmas Song, which the last time it was played in like any time past, I believe, July, was in February of 2007. Was the last time that it was played anything remotely close to this.
Yeah, that's correct.
And in addition to that, and I know we kind of talked about over the past couple of days how, certain guests don't really vibe with Dave and Tim, and it kind of screws up that duo dynamic. I said that there's very few exceptions. Someone like Trey, or even like a handful of the horn players that have ever come in and actually really helped to accent more songs. Molly Tuttle absolutely shone way brighter than truly expected. I mean, I'm a huge fan of hers to begin with. I've been lucky enough to work with her before and work with her team. I am a full and unabashed homer when it comes to her, but she absolutely lit up the stage. Dave was thrilled to have her there, and the last 5 songs of the main set felt less like you were at a show and more like you were just sitting in Dave's basement and he was hanging out with his friend and he just wanted to play songs that he likes.
Awesome. Okay, so it's you're being taken to a very intimate space at the end of this main set, and it feels more personal and more kind of like something you can't grasp at a regular concert. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. There was, I mean, it's hard to explain because Dave has always talked about his influences being people like Bob Dylan, Neil Young, John Prine, and a lot of those older folk musicians. That's where he got his love of music and guitar. I believe, if I remember correctly, he even said the first concert that he ever saw, and again, this wasn't like Dave speak from this year. He said it in passing a handful of times. That the first concert he ever saw was John Prine sitting on the back of a pickup truck when he was a kid, and like to sit there and do "Speed of the Sound of Loneliness," a song that he has flat out said before is a song that's very close and near and dear to him. Bringing out "Oh Sister," another Dylan tune that he has already said that he really loves, but again, he just doesn't have the space to play it in.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting into the intimacy of "Grace Is Gone" and letting that kind of open up with a friend and a colleague that he genuinely respects, and then culminating that all with debuting a new song that they had been working on over the pandemic through Zoom sessions. I mean, it's a guest experience like you would have never gotten. It felt much more akin to, like I said, you were just hanging out and they're like, oh, we're just gonna hang out, we're gonna play some cool songs, and oh yeah, we've kind of been working on this, and let me know what you think about it. Like, that doesn't happen at Dave shows, and it's unlike anything I've ever seen. And maybe this is a lot of recency bias and all that kind of stuff, but this show was absolutely spectacular through and through. I mean, my only real complaints regarding the set list would be sub out "You Do You Remember" and "You and Me," and otherwise I wouldn't change a damn thing in this.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And I think that's I'm a Linkin Park fan, and they all came from different worlds. There's a lot of bands like that, not just Linkin Park. There's a lot of rock bands who you think they all are the same, but when you get to know them, or if you see them at a special show, if you see them at a bar, the basis of a band at the bar doing a smaller show, or like Jeff Coffey, you see Jeff Coffin in Nashville, or you see him, he's doing some shows right now. One of the things that I've kind of learned over the years is when someone has that comfort to kind of say, okay, I'm not with my full band, I don't have to sacrifice the tangents, the dive into a certain genre that we only touch the tip of in this full band. There's a lot of artists that have to, just like in any organization, business, or sporting team, you have to sacrifice some of how you fully are for the greater good of the team. But when you get someone like in a special location like this, you can get these unique moments. So this makes a lot more sense as far as why this is your this is arguably your favorite show of all time, because you're getting Dave Matthews being free to be Dave, being free to give you these rants, being free to just explore a full circle moment with an artist who has the sound of his idols. So that really does help me understand at least why this is special to you, and also you openly admit you're tied to Molly, your appreciation for what Molly does, and seeing Dave and Molly put this together. It's great to hear this. Now, did you see? Because I know, like I said, there's reports that Molly. Did you actually see Molly? What can you walk us through, like what you may have heard or saw or experienced today, as far as who, like, possible guests or possible people, rumblings in Mexico?
So, I mean, Molly was rumored to be here as early as yesterday, because over down here at the Grand, I mean, I can at least say for myself that I recognized a couple of people from like her circle, her management, and things like that. And like there had been rumblings around. Some people had said they spotted her, but my understanding was she kind of kept to herself while down here. But the kind of unfortunate nail in the coffin was someone said, "Hey, you're gonna want to go and check Molly's Instagram." And I took a look over there, and she had decided to repost a friend of hers from high school. She had reposted a story that they had taken together, and uh, the I instantly recognized that they were in the cabanas inside of the Grand. So apparently someone must have also told her about that because she was supposed to be kept a secret, and she deleted that reel pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't see anything uh, tied to location. Just some general photos, Grammy, things like that.
It was inside. It was
Okay,
inside of her stories,
story.
but like
Okay,
I said,
yeah. She cut that. Yeah, she had to. Oops.
yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion that someone within management was like, "Hey,
Yeah,
take that down. Like, we don't want you to spoil that you're here."
yeah. But the damage was already done, and that's very interesting to see that a little slip. And
Yeah.
that's the
So
internet for you now. You can people can tie things together pretty quick.
So I see the comment asking about the story of Yosemite. So I want to, if you don't mind, I'll kind of get
Yeah.
into a little bit of the tangent regarding it. So so for those of you that aren't really fully familiar, like Molly Tuttle is a now Grammy Award winning bluegrass guitarist and vocalist. She comes from a long line of musicians. She is a force inside of the bluegrass community, specifically in Nashville. And with the revival of bluegrass that's currently going on, there's been a lot of time, money, and energy put into getting her promoted, getting her music out there, and giving it across genre appeal, which also included her opening for Dave last year over here in Mexico. She did a poolside set and she did a main stage opening set with her backing band. Um, so she released her debut album with this group called Crooked Tree, and it won the Best Bluegrass Grammy, I think, like 2 weeks ago or whenever that was. And yes, that comment is actually right. Molly was roommates with Billy Strings for years. I forgot about that bit. So,
Wow.
needless to say, like she's musical royalty, especially in Nashville. Now, where tonight kind of comes in is at this point, Crooked Tree came out, I want to say a little bit more than 6 months ago. Probably it was around summer or so because they were heavily going and touring with it. But Molly is one to always be in the studio, rolling with ideas and whatever. So apparently, she and her label approached Dave about doing a feature on a song that she was writing called Yosemite. And apparently, Dave and his in-house engineer, Rob Calvato, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. They essentially they started sending files back and forth where Molly was saying, "Okay, um, this is kind of the song that we're working on. What do you think of it?" And then they started collaborating, and they've been working on it for several months. And right now, apparently, it's all fleshed out. It's ready to go for her new album, which is slated to come out in a couple of months. She hasn't even announced the full album. Tonight was kind of the soft, "Hey, you guys are going to get to see some cool shit" kind of stuff.
Huh.
Um, so so essentially, they even talked about the fact that they had to sit down for the last couple of weeks and make sure that they knew, like, everyone including Tim was on board saying, "Okay, do we know how to play this or not?" And it was the first time that they were actually fully performing it together in person in real life and not over like a Zoom session.
Wow. So that's very cool. So she has this group album that wins a Grammy. She's now has it's going to be a solo album.
Yeah, and I mean like even when it comes to uh when it came to Crooked Tree, if you look at the actual track listing, the the entire album is filled to the brim with guests that she had for Crooked Tree. I mean, she had Old Crow Medicine Show on there. She had Billy Strings sitting in on a track. She had oh my god, what's her name? She's another female mandolinist, Sierra Hull. She had on there. Like these are people that are A-list bluegrass folk, and I apologize to any of the viewers who are not who are listening to me talk and think this is Swahili. Trust me, I get it. Not everybody is into bluegrass. I totally understand. It just happens to be, where my second home is. Um, but this album, even when it came out, was with rave reviews, and people have been anticipating. Well, not only what songs are going to come onto her next album, but who's going to guest on her next album. So it's very clear, especially if she's able to get that kind of A-list talent from the bluegrass side, and she's got at least Dave sitting in on one track on her album. I mean, I don't even want to know who's going to be on for the rest of it. It's going to be a slew of A-list musicians then.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I have not dived into bluegrass, but it's great to see what Billy Strings has done, especially in the jam band world, as far as filling up smaller arenas, filling up festivals, his people traveling to the festival just to see him. New fans being one. It's great to see this genre get more shine and see that even in 2023, you can have younger, newer artists in this genre carry on the traditions and the sound, and then cross it with, like you said, a big thing, a selling point of this is crossing genres. So Billy Strings plays Grateful Dead covers that tie into bluegrass, but that gets the deadheads and even younger fans of these jam bands to hop into the Billy Strings lane. We have Brett, who's a friend of the show. He's on Twitter, and I know he loves Billy Strings. He's a younger fan just out of college, I believe, and he's you know listening
Yeah,
to
and I
a
mean,
lot of what he does. So.
even to again, if we're going to kind of tangent onto this because of the fact of the guest for tonight and kind of giving the fuller exposure to it. I mean, even like before the Dead was the Dead, Jerry Garcia was plain as day a bluegrass guitarist. He was in bluegrass groups such as the Old and in the Way. His roots and his musical stylings came from that era and that kind of sound. That's where he cut his chops early before the Dead blew up. And there's an understood direct linkage between the jam community that we know nowadays and the older bluegrass and Americana roots. It's all an incestuous, intertwined intermingling of musicians and musical craftsmanship. And to kind of not get too far into the weeds on that, one of the things that I think will come out of this weekend, especially, is bluegrass itself is seeing a massive revival. It's seeing a lot more mainstream interest. It's not just the Billy Strings. It's not just the Molly Tuttle of things. You're seeing bluegrass artists that are well established. People like the infamous String Dusters and Green Sky Bluegrass, and these acts that are selling out major theaters and selling it and going on to tours into like Live Nation amps, and like it's a huge thing. So even beyond that, the fact was that Dave tonight had the absolute biggest grin on his face while he was playing these songs, because these songs are home for him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's weird to say when he has such a big catalog, but songs like From John Prine, Bob Dylan songs, Neil Young songs, all that kind of folksy Americana stuff is where he has found his home, and he loves it there. And I think that there's something to be said that Dave felt comfortable and vulnerable enough and found the right person to be with where he could go and share that with us. And I think that vulnerability, circling it back to all the way with what we talked about, is why this show will rank as my number one.
Okay, awesome. TC Kaufman says, any chance this weekend gets a live tracks or weekend on the beach release? I will say, I think just as we saw last year, there's a very strong chance one of these nights gets on Sirius XM, and it's even. I think it's a still a strong chance that all three shows get on Sirius XM as filler or as incentives for people to listen to Dave Matthews Band Radio in March. Before you have now, maybe that new album takes a little bit away from that, but on a Friday night concert series, they're not going to have concerts. There's a innings fest. That's it, and that's not. I don't think that's going to be on Sirius XM. So I think that there's still space, despite promoting an album, to promote this weekend, to even promote some of the songs. I think perhaps we'll see Monsters, one of the Monsters performances, be the live performance of Dave and Tim. Perhaps that's a promotional tool for the new album as well, as we get into that March and April area where it's going to be critical to continue to keep people engaged to try to purchase this album and support it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think that there's a very good chance that we see all three of these. Do I think it's going to be like a full-fledged like live tracks, full physical media, the whole shtick? No, I don't. I think that we will more than likely end up seeing these as Friday night concert series. More than likely, I would guess next month, maybe in April. And they'll end up doing that as cross promotion for the album. Because I mean, even there's a lot of stuff currently in the air with like getting ready for the new album and all that kind of stuff. You know, there's exciting things going on all around, and the fandom should be really excited for some of the cool stuff that's coming through. But I can't unfortunately say more about that.
Okay. And I think one of the things with the live, like every year, people this should be a live or that should, and ultimately shows do get picked. But I think one of the things that is, this is definitely a conversation as we have some a month before the next shows, live post show streams. I feel like a lot of the shows, when I listen to the tapes that you and the other awesome tapers take down, there's not as many moments where you can say, oh, that night, despite the set list, they did X, Y, and Z slightly different, or they tested this out, or you got a very great version of that. I feel like a lot of the modern era DMB post pandemic, there's some moments that are nice, but I feel like for the live tracks, mission statement or purpose to highlight some great things, there's not a lot of shows that really, to me, fit that live track qualification.
So it's kind of it's a catch-22 because, you know, especially with this modern era of like post-COVID DMB, or if you want to even call it like post-Boyd DMB, so we're talking 2018 onward. It's hard to sit there and analyze a ton of these shows, especially with them being so close. Because I mean, like, granted, Dave Matthews the DMB mantra, in my opinion, is they're not a jam band, they're a band that occasionally jams.
Yeah.
And a lot of the songs, admittedly, are quite formulaic, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't, because frankly, I think that's part of the DNA of the band. When it comes to a live tracks release, like, the show's got to be special.
Mm-hmm.
The show itself has to have like a scene around it. It has to have this specialness to it. And I think that, you know, in the era that we're in now, we're too close to a lot of those shows to be able to say like, oh, that was special. Like there was something about that show that makes it radiate more. And to also be clear, like, yeah, we're gonna end up like we'll end up getting a live tracks of something from this year because the 2023 tour, there's going to be a live tracks that's going to be focused mostly on like the stuff that comes out from Walk Around the Moon,
Right.
or we're going to get one from like maybe last year because they really have been trying to at least put one show out per year that gets a proper live tracks mastering and release, and that's just the way that it works. However, I personally would prefer to see, and they've been doing a lot more of it, I would prefer for them to start digging back into the vault and start looking back at notes and start having, Dave and the rest of the band kind of say, oh, like let's all listen back to this tour, or let's look at the like what we wrote in our journals or some shit about like the summer of 2002 tour. Like maybe there was a show that we really liked or that the fans really liked, and maybe that one's the one that we should release. To be very clear, like there are very few to no shows in the entire history of Dave Matthews that don't have multi-track or at least desk recordings sitting inside a vault in Charlottesville, Virginia. I think that there is more than enough there for Tucker and everybody else to say, let's work with this.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is when I saw Death on the High Seas pop up this weekend, there were even some fans, you have fans who know this stuff, but there were some fans who were like, hey, when has this been played last? What does it sound? What is this? And it brought me back. I'm finally appreciating fully. I did appreciate it when it was there, but I finally can appreciate Branford Marsalis hopping in Hartford of 2015, playing on certain songs with the spirit of Leroy as really the Leroy. Leroy would not be where he was without Branford being with Sting. But I listened back to that show in 2023, and I can understand why that Virginia in the Rain is special, why that Death on the High Seas with him there as a guest is special compared to the rest of that tour. And that's 2015. I don't have the ability to do the same for 18, 19, 21, 22 because you need time to pass. You need some of this stuff to go away. So then you understand, oh, Death on the High Seas went away. It didn't land in other concerts like it did that night or other nights on tour, or certain songs with the guests hit right in 2015. Like I agree with that. I think we should look back further, 5 years plus, and with that, okay, the band's here, this is where they were, but these two shows or this one show really has that uniqueness to say, if you you leave Hartford 2015, your perception of Virginia in the Rain and Death on the High Seas is one way. But if you saw those two same songs later in the tour and they decided to just scrap it all together, maybe you don't feel the same way. But then if you weren't at my Hartford show that I went to and you listen to that, if that's a live tracks, that Hartford 2015 is a live tracks, you say, oh, that's why this is a special show, because for this night you had Branford Marsalis doing amazing things with Dave and the rest of the band. And this changes my perspective of Death on the High Seas.
No, and I think that you hit that right on the head. And I think that, it's funny because like I started going to shows in 2012, and the like in that time I've seen a decade's worth of this band's trajectory and sound change. And like there are some shows that were completely like non-memorable and that kind of stuff, and I put them away. But there are still those couple that I go back to when I listen, to tapes, and I'm like, that show, like there's something about it. I don't know what it was. and it's so funny because like we talk about all the time about how certain songs get overplayed or beaten into the ground. One good example is like put yourself in 2013, 2014 DMB, like just still working through most of the big whiskey stuff, giving the little bit of a nod to Away from the World before it eventually ended up just going back into the closet because Dave hates it. And think about the song Squirm. Squirm was played goddamn every night. And the same thing with Shake Me Like a Monkey. It was every other night.
Yeah.
And we sat there and everyone was annoyed at it. Everyone would bitch about it. When is it going to go away? When's it going to go away? And I found myself, because I think it was Jones Beach of last year, was the first time that Shake Me had been played in like 2 years. And I sat there and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. And like, was I thrilled about it? Not necessarily, but it gave the song time to breathe. It gave those abilities for those memories to resonate. And then when it comes to Squirm, like again, it was a song that was just beaten into the ground and was just slapped around like a redheaded stepchild for several years and thrown in everybody's face, and we wanted it to go away. And now here I am thinking of when it was played, last night? And I was like, I forgot that this song is actually good. This
Yes.
song's fun. And I having reading some of the comments, there was one kind of beat that really hit differently. Little Thing is a weird song. Little Thing has transformed from this weird, rambling, sort of drunken story that Dave used to tell in like 96 and has morphed into this just cathartic wail of of pain and sorrow and despair and just letting loose of just raw emotion. It's one of the few songs that he does where it doesn't feel like he's actually singing a song. It feels like it's almost therapeutic for him.
Yes.
And some people can't stand the song. I personally am trying to learn to appreciate it in its current status. And what T.C. Kaufman brings up is after tonight's version, Dave talked a little bit about how that song reminds him so much of Leroy, and he thinks about Leroy when he plays that song because apparently he has all of this emotion that just comes up with it, and it just tears him apart when he plays it, but he feels closer to Leroy's spirit when he plays it. And I can't wait to listen back to the actual Dave speak that he did for that, because you felt the chills from everybody in that room from that, because it was almost like he told that little like he didn't have to tell us that, and he just let in the entire crowd on probably one of the most vulnerable things that he could.
Yes. And I come from the world of gospel music. I went to church today, and that song, little, even like I put right here, like this chord progression right here. When you play this, right, like that chord progression feels like therapy. You have this open E string ringing out, and the way this percussive feels, and then you put down another hand, and then you move this ring finger. You don't have much feel on the ring finger when you play this chord shape, and you have to move it up, and then you get to those Gray Street type tripping Billy chord, like that. Learning this chord structure has always tied me to this song in the way that Dave explained it tonight. It's not about the lyrics. It's not about the railing and the progression. It's always felt dark to me, in a beautiful darkness. And the whole album of Some Devil, we've talked about a lot this weekend, is a beautiful darkness to me. It's being able to endure suffering, being able, like, I love Little Thing, and whatever you want to call it, in its current form, and I look forward to the tape that you're able to put up in the coming weeks, or however long it takes you, days, whatever it is, because I connect with this. And I remember listening to the Live in Luther College version, and it is much more of a story of a, hey, what's going on? Where did this girl go? But now it's evolved into this. This is a feeling. I feel Leroy. That's what Dave is saying. That's what you're kind of referring to. Like, that's how I've always thought of this song, and I hope that perhaps we see more of that. Hopefully, we see this even in, potentially, they come to a SPAC, they come to a bigger, an Alpine, and we get this at a full band show. As back in the day, it was a part of that as they were trying to form it. So I do hope this comes with the full band.
I think that the song itself should definitely be. Dave should let himself take this song where it needs to go.
Mhm.
But just like how we talk about how 34 is Leroy's song, or how, Why I Am is a song honoring Leroy from, the entire band. I don't get that feeling from Little Thing. I feel like Little Thing has morphed into a song that is played by Dave for Dave, and it's played respectfully so. And to a degree, like, would it be interesting to see what the full band could do with it? Yes, but I don't think that that's the point of this song. I
Mhm.
don't think that the point of it is for anyone other than that man that is currently sitting there with his ears on and wailing into that microphone. I don't think that anyone else exists in that room when he plays that song. And I don't even think that he realizes that Tim's there when he's accompanying it. And I think it's just one of those things of solemn remembrance and cathartic release. Like, not to get too philosophical on
Right.
it,
I see what you're
but
saying. It's for him, and it's for him to do in a Dave solo, in a Dave and Tim, but really it's a Dave. Dave has much more of a. It's about him. It's not about, he doesn't have to worry about Carter, Stefan, all of those. It's about him. So that's a good point. Uh, TC Kaufman also says, hey, he said earlier it felt like Live at Luther. Did you get that feeling that you were seeing Live at Luther College when you were in at this show?
I mean, I kind of get what they're saying in that sense, in the sense that on a stage as big as this, and quite literally a five-star resort in Mexico, sprawled out with thousands of people on a beach, did it feel like you were like at the equivalent of an amphitheater in the States? Like, did you feel like we were at CMAC or something? No, the show felt smaller, and it
Well,
felt like
not to cut you off, I think that's what he's at, because like Luther College, that was a very small auditorium.
yeah, that's
Right.
sort of what I'm
Yeah.
going
Oh, okay.
towards, in the sense that it kind of it I'll agree that it felt different. There was something different about tonight. I don't know if it was just the way that Dave was into himself, if he was wanting to kind of put out that last little bit of effort into blowing out this weekend. Because I mean, we've talked before about the fact that Dave struggles on 3 night runs
Hmm.
consistently.
Yeah.
Um, but it felt like the world got smaller for that 2.5, 2.25, 2 and 3/4 hours. And the crowd, while definitely a little rowdy in some instances, was respectful, especially on, some of the smaller songs. They weren't screaming. It wasn't a huge drunken mess like it has been usual years. It was a good crowd for tonight. And, tying all this back into the conversation that we had last night, it does give me a little bit of hope that maybe one day we can go back to that auditorium tour where we just sit down and we listen respectfully.
It's awesome. So I mean, hey, I think we've touched everything that needed to be touched. Any other final thoughts about this weekend, about this show?
So it's not confirmed or not, but I think that oh, and Shane was 100% right. The crowd was still dicks to Tim whenever he played his song, but unfortunately, that's just a battle that will never be won by Dave and Tim shows, and that sucks. It genuinely doesn't.
Yeah.
It bothers the hell out of me. But I mean, it's open knowledge that Moon Palace had a 3-year deal with Dave for these shows. So there was 2020, right before the pandemic hit. There was 2022, and then there was 2023. This was the last year. There has been nothing signed by anybody as to whether or not there will be a 2024. I cannot say whether there's going to be or whether there isn't going to be. But all I can say is I was lucky enough to be here last year due to the gracefulness of a lot of incredible people. And being here again for these shows has 100% converted me to saying that these shows are special. And if you can possibly ever make it down through here or budget your way to do it, I would 100% recommend it because these shows are unlike anything else you will ever see from this band.
Awesome. Have you been to the Gorge?
I have, and it's different than that.
Okay. And that's what we want because I know Shane. I didn't realize Shane hadn't been to the Gorge. So how does this differ from the Gorge as far as this destination type? Both of these are seen as every person should go to the Gorge. People from Mexico say everyone should go to Mexico. How does this differ from Gorge?
Gorge is a party. Gorge is a nonstop 100% party town vibe, and the party continues the second that you get inside those doors and the band blows down those curtains and absolutely rocks out that river valley until late at night. More times than not, when it comes to the Mexico stuff, yeah, everybody's partying, everybody's kind of having fun during the day, or you can like lounge around and do your own thing. But that's in that aspect, they're fairly similar in terms of like the lot life and like what you can do out there and all that kind of stuff. But the show atmosphere is different. Dave seems genuinely more at home or at peace when he's playing to this audience on the beach. It almost feels like he has a weirder expectation when he's there. I don't know how to explain it. And I'm not saying like the Gorge is better than Mexico, and I'm not saying Mexico is better than the Gorge. They are completely separate and different vibes. And I mean, I fully recommend doing both. I mean, if you can do both, that's cool and awesome. I mean, don't blow out your bank account and do them both in 1 year if you can't do it. But I think that both are experiences that people should have.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for being on, Zach. Safe travels back here. And let me just take a look because I mean, I'm sure you check the weather in New York in the tri-state, but they switched it.
I've already got my jeans and my sweater and my jacket ready for going home, my dude.
The snow that was supposed to come a week from this upcoming Saturday, now it's just clouds. It looks like in the tri-state, which is, I guess that's good. But it was supposed to be some snow next Saturday.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
so at least the next couple of days be in the 40s versus the 30. There's no 30s, or like the highs are in the 40s. So, but yeah, safe travels
I'll
back.
take that's a little different than the 80s. But thank you again for having me on, Marcus. I always
All
appreciate
right.
your time, and I think that we always have good conversations.
All right. You have a wonderful night. Take care.
You as well. Take care.
All right. And if you're watching this from if you're flying back to the mid Atlantic or the Northeast, I would recommend, and this is probably a small percentage of people, check your vehicles. We obviously had a derailment in Northeast Ohio, and I'm thinking about the people out there right now. I pray for you guys, and but even to Connecticut, we there's some weird stuff on my car. So definitely, if you're coming back and you have a car that's outside, um, definitely try to get a car wash. Just a small little tidbit, um, because there I saw, like I said, I saw stuff from physically on my car, and I know everything's different, but it is a little concern, or I guess not a little concerning, but it is concerning as far as that derailment and the impact there. So Joe is in Nassau. Joe, a friend of the show, been on. He gives us his ear for a lot of these post show streams. In Nassau, Bahamas. All right, I've been to Nassau. I went back in '09. TC Kaufman says Dave mentioned how there's tremendous pressure to deliver. So I guess he does feel that pressure. These set lists are the best I've seen in forever. I will say, like Dave and Tim, to me, just have a Dave and Tim have a way to make me feel happy no matter what they play. I've seen two farm aids since the pandemic. I went to a set cut short by lightning in Sound on Sound that I almost didn't go to because of concerns. I almost just was going to take the money loss and not go because of safety concerns, but it all worked out. And they had to cut full to think. They had to, like, for because of lightning, they had to cut full to think at some other gyms. But Dave and Tim, you guys know in the full band, I'm like, come on, guys, I need this. Just y'all doing great. I love the environment. I love every show I go to, but more fans should get this. More fans should get that. With Dave and Tim, I think it's even more important. Like for DMB, like sometimes being there does matter. It's a different vibe, but I mean, you can kind of get an idea because they're not a jam band. They're a band that jams, as Zach put it. You can kind of, all right, don't drink. How is Don't Drink the Water going to be marginally better than the last one, full band? But like Dave and Tim, man, when you're there, or when you get a high quality tape, it's different. It's just a great feeling. It's a great vibe, and that acoustic guitar is to me one of the reasons that is important about this band. Leroy has passed, and I mean Carter is Carter. I mean, but the acoustic guitar is like that's what, like, I need more of that in the full band. But hey, I get it with Dave and Tim, right? So did I just yawn? Yeah, I'm tired. Uh, I'm not going to Forest Hills. My issue with that show is if there was like two shows at Forest Hills, right? I would make the trek to go. I don't want to go all the way to New York City and there's not a lot of parking, so you got to take public. And I love public transit in New York City, but I don't want to have to go through all of the work to get to Forest Hills in Queens, then the next day go to Hartford. You guys have probably seen I many times leave Mansfield Like they had Don't Drink the Water close out a show. I was walking to my car. And it's mostly because on these 2-night weekends, now many of you guys may be used to just driving 3 to 4 hours. Texas two-step, it's 3 hours. Right? Houston, Dallas, Dallas, Houston. Most times it's Houston to Dallas. I do the post-show streams. Even before that, I had a lot of video editing that I did to upload these as quickly as possible to you guys. That to me is more important than a Friday night, single night stand encore that's average. So I will leave. I know some people will stay. But I think Forest Hills will be a great vibe especially if you're in the New York City area. But for me, someone who's in Hartford, who had to debate or have this dilemma, am I going to go and try to fight for tickets there? I just said no. But I know that if you go to that show, you're going to have a great time. If you're in New York, I'm not going to go because I got Hartford and Mansfield back-to-back Saturdays. I do think Forest Hill Stadium, if they did some sort of caravan type thing there, obviously it's still a small venue, or they had like a 2-night stand, or even if they did like a 3-night stand at Forest Hill Stadium, I think then you're like, okay, let me go. I think that's also the appeal of Charleston, right? JoJo is in the chat, or at least he was, right? That 2-night stand was amazing. And it was in the deep South, and it wasn't West Palm Beach. It was a small, intimate venue, and they did 2 great nights there. Right. Main reason I feel Maine or Mansfield won't sell as well this year since no one wants to drive 4 hours for Friday night, Saturday. No, I think Mansfield's going to be the must. Like, I think Maine will suffer. I think Maine will definitely suffer. I don't think Mansfield's going to, because Mansfield's on a Saturday and it's in the Boston Metro. I think there's just not going to be a lot of fans who drive up to Maine. Right? They're just going to go to, because Mansfield is where the amount of just casual fans alone in the Boston Metro. Like when they play What Would You Say in Mansfield, people go nuts. Best of What's Around played last year. People were, now it still is a deep cut. Not everyone was like, but like when you play those classic Crashing Under the Table and Dreaming radio hits, Crash Into Me 2016 at Mansfield was a big hit. The Boston Metro loves those radio hits because it's a big radio market, right? So the Mansfield I don't think will be different. I will say Mansfield, it seems that you're able to buy single tickets to Mansfield. Like if you only need 1 or 2 tickets, you can find something. But that's just what I think, is because it's in the Metro. That main one is a tough one. And I think that the people that will do that probably live in New Hampshire, right? If you live in New Hampshire, you go to Maine, maybe you stay overnight in Maine, and then the next day you go down to Mansfield. Maybe you stay in Mansfield, or maybe you drive home, or maybe you stay home for one of those and go to the other, right? But Bangor is up there, right? But they've played Bangor before. They released a live track from Bangor, Maine, right? From the Two Sets era that was recently released. We'll see, but I'm going to Mansfield. Even if there's something, and I don't want to speak it in existence, even if there's something that is played in Bangor that's, oh man, I missed that, I'm still not driving up there. It's just not worth the trek, at least for me personally. And especially with the cost, I think the other thing, the cost of these tickets, it adds up. It's starting to add up, but that's just the reality of it. Is everything's more expensive now. Either you got the money or you don't. And I've made choices based on what I budget for concerts and entertainment. It's a big part of my life, but I also do have a line in the sand that I draw. And many of your lines in the sands may be smaller or bigger than mine. A couple of days ago, I pointed out the the DMB News poll, dmbnews.com poll, where a lot of people said they're going to no shows this year. You got family. I think Tyler, shout out to Tyler. He's got a baby number 3's on the way. For I think 3 or 4, Tyler Hensley, right? So he's gonna, hey, he's stepping aside, and I love that too. Listen, I love DMB, and this is my life. If I'm blessed enough to have a child, and I want to see that birth, I want to be there. That's going to be key. If I can work stuff around that, great. But I mean, I want to spend a lot of time, with that child. Or there's certain life events that are important, more important than chase around DMB. If in a certain season of my life, or if something happens, so I get that. But there's a lot of people only going to one show or going to none because of that. That you drive this far and you pay this much, and hotels or flights are up. So we can talk more about that as we have more free time with the month off. The other thing is, two more things, and we're out of here. Where Sean did play with, John Mayer. Let's take a little listen here of that. I was at the barbershop. This is me at the barbershop right here. And I found, I got some reports about Molly Tuttle. And obviously, I got this all shaved down. But John Mayer, shout out to John Mayer. I'm a huge John Mayer fan, but John Mayer and Rashawn were playing. Let's take a quick listen here.
It's 34, aka.
Now that's right from right next to the stage, but I actually love that little. I love how Rashawn is playing perfectly for that song. I was joking last night. Oh, how's he gonna play? Like, you can play slow dancing and hear this loud trumpet, but Rashawn's playing now. I would love to hear the mix of that, or way further back to what it sounds like, because I think it's going to be, that's someone right in the camera well next to the stage, and you can't hear fully what the rest of the crowd's listening to. But I thought it was cool. Rashawn seemed to have a great trumpet part for John Mayer, and I would love to see more of that. And I will be, actually, one of the things I want to do. I know I've said a lot about Rashawn. I do want to actually highlight some of the great things I love about Rashawn. Right. Right. Mike says Rashawn is tone versus John. I do want to highlight that. I do want to highlight, like, we're going to be looking at on some of these videos I made, Captain, for example. Captain has a great reprise in Alpine in 2015, I believe that was, and that's perfect for the trumpet. I think Dodo is a great song to have trumpet on in a certain tone. So I know, and allegedly it's gotten all the way to Jeff. I've said things about Rashawn, but I respect, he's a great musician. It's just, there's things I actually love that he does. There's things that I think, hey, you don't need to be this high up. So he's a great musician. It's just, again, I have my opinions on that. And listen, he's going to do what he's going to do. Whatever I say is not going to stop his bread, right? He's still going to have these opportunities with the Grammys, with John Mayer, with Dave Matthews and the band. Hops in with OAR and Slightly Stupid every now and then. So, but I do, and I feel strong, but I do think he has some great trumpet lines and runs. He's a world-class trumpet player, been recognized nationally and internationally. But yes, Shane's right. Less is more, right? They say in Hamilton, talk less, smile more, right? Are you Evan Burr, sir? Right? It's one of my favorite lines. Talk less, smile more. Don't let them know what you're against and what you're for. That's from Hamilton. One of the first numbers there. And that's, but pretty cool. The second thing, what was the second thing? I forgot what the second thing was. Oh, Tampa. So a month from, well, now it's 2/20. Happy President's Day. March 19th, 2023, I will be on after Innings Fest. Hopefully I can get DMB Tampa Bay or someone who's there. If you're going to Innings Fest and want to come on, I'm very interested to see what you guys think. But I think as we look at what we got tonight and then look what's going to be a month later, we have to separate these two and we have to change our expectations. Really, our expectations for this festival set should be very low and just, hey, they're playing a festival. Hopefully they win over some new fans. Hopefully the energy of the band, the talent of this band wins some new fans over or changes someone who says, walks in, I hate DMB. I think they're cheesy and corny, and they listen to them live and they walk out of that festival saying, listen, DMB is never going to be my favorite band of all time, but I respect them. And I may actually listen to them a little more and listen to their live stuff. I didn't realize the live show was like this and the studio stuff is like that. But we have to change. We're getting so many special things every night, whether Shane shares it, Zach shares it, other people on Twitter and Instagram that are sharing this stuff. And I appreciate all of that. Shout out to everyone uploading these full videos, landscape, right? Widescreen landscape, whatever you want to call it. Thank you for that, because this is valuable to just listen back and enjoy. Thank you to Zach for taping. But I want people to change their expectations. The best feeling that a DMB fan is going to get out of Innings Fest next month is if you live locally or you're trying to escape the cold and you're there to see the baseball stars and the other bands. If those are the main reasons you're going down, baseball stars, maybe you see get some autographs, get to meet some baseball players. That's what part of Innings Fest does. It's very unique in the fact that, there's been chefs and all this other stuff, but the fact they've done this with spring training and you combine music with baseball. If you're there for certain baseball stars of your childhood or of your early adulthood, and you're there for some other great bands that you'd like that are on that set, what DMB is going to do is just icing on the cake, right? It's a cherry on top, but you can't go in thinking you're going to get this crazy rare set. And I think the vibe of the Innings Fest in Tempe was they just left the Cosmopolitan like the day before, and the Cosmopolitan was a very intimate venue for DMB. That hotel has a very intimate venue that typically DMB would be too big to play. They play a great show there. They carry the momentum and some of the deep cuts into Tempe. That's not happening. We have Dave and Tim in Mexico. Great weekend here. They're going to take an entire month off. So it's not going to be the same 1 day off. The no days off to play Vegas for the first time in a long time. And then from there, you go right to a festival. You're not it's going to be more cookie cutter of a set, but that's fine. That's what that's what DMB does, is they got to market to the overall crowd, and not everyone's a DMB fan. That's at this event. So yeah, that's what I got. Let's see, what can we do? Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share this, let people know, please. And I know a lot of you guys tell your friends, tell a friend. I appreciate the promotion of this. Just let people know, hey, these post-show streams, we got some great insight from some great fans. You can be a part of these streams if you go to shows. This is a great tool. And the other thing too is, like, today, someone on the Ants Marching page wanted to know about the stats for, and I pulled it. Oh, what did I do? I put it in the comments of the video, but I also updated this today. Let's see. All right, so I updated the deep cut. Little Thing has been played 1, 2, 3. It's been played 4 times. It's been played 4 times in Mexico. right? That's a special thing that Dave feels very comfortable playing it. 4 times in Mexico back-to-back years. We've gotten Dodo back-to-back years. A lot of people want to know when's the last this, the last that. I can bring this data from the almanac, give it to you in a video form. I appreciate what the almanac does, and without them, I'd be nothing. But I can give you this stuff on a nightly basis. You guys got questions, you want topics to bring up tied to these shows, we can put them there. So do you think the Zeppelin cover, I don't know. I think this may stay in the Dave and Tim universe because you have a whole new album coming out, and you still have Fool in the Rain just 1 year. It's just going to be 1 year old. That was Alpine. So in July, it'll be 1 year old of being covered by DMB. Full band. They've done Fool in the Rain like Dave and Friends, Yukon Cornelius, but full band, it's a new idea for the full band crowd. So, but the stuff like right here, this is what I bring up, and I make these charts and do what I can to try to give this information to you. So this is what it's about. Tell people about this. Let them know, hey, this is what it's about. We want to get perspectives. All right, so I'm going to close out. Let's see if I can hear this here. We'll close out with this great.
Hey.
All right, so I'm going to close out with this Gray Street. Thank you guys for the support all weekend. You guys have a wonderful President's Day weekend. It's your boy Conserviz34. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm out of here. Peace.
How she listens. She said my finger, watch me think. She just goes stumbling on my way, staring out onto gray streets. That's the things they how did I come to this? I dream myself a million times around the world, but I can't get out of this place. I'm living in the mess inside of her. Will she do anything baby? But all the colors mixed together, great, and it breaks the heart. Well, how she wishes it was different. She prays to God most every day, though she knows when it doesn't listen, there's a foolish hope in her image. She says, I pray, all of my prayers have fallen on deaf ears. Am I supposed to take it on myself to get it out of this place? Oh, there's a loneliness inside her. Does she do anything baby? And though it's red blood bleeding from her now, feel like cold blue ice in her heart. When all the colors mix together, it's great, and it breaks her heart. says take what you can from your dreams. You make them as real as anything. Oh, it'll take all the work out of the courage. She says please. Every crazy man is creeping outside my door. I live on the corner of the race train. It feels like the end of the world. Now there's no less inside her. And she do anything with their and I know it's red blood bleeding from her now. Felt like cold blue ice in her heart. She feels like kicking out all the windows and setting fire to this life. It would change everything about her. Using colors, sour and bright, but all the colors mixed together. Please, and it breaks.